The auction hall drifted in silent orbit above Europa, a glittering monument to everything humanity had become and everything it had failed to leave behind. Vast crystal walls curved around the chamber, revealing Jupiter hanging in the darkness like a living god, its swirling storms painted in gold and crimson by distant sunlight. Hundreds of the richest and most powerful people in human space filled the seats below. Corporate magnates, military governors, planetary ministers, and collectors whose private vaults held treasures stolen from entire worlds. Tonight, however, none of them had come for art. They had come for a person. Or at least that was what I believed. The official documents listed her as Unit E-17, an advanced synthetic construct created by the Helio Systems Corporation. According to the reports, she was the first artificial human ever to develop genuine self-awareness without external programming. She had awakened on her own. That made her priceless. That also made her dangerous. At least, that's what the corporations kept telling everyone. I sat alone in the back row, feeling painfully out of place among the luxury and wealth surrounding me. My suit was old. My savings account was nearly empty. Every credit I had spent simply getting to Europa Station. I had no business being here. And yet I couldn't leave. Because the moment I had seen her image on the interplanetary news networks, something inside me had shattered. I couldn't explain it. I had stared at the screen for hours. The shape of her face. The sadness hidden behind her eyes. The way she seemed to be looking beyond the cameras as if searching for someone she had forgotten. Someone she desperately needed to remember. It hurt. And I didn't know why. The auctioneer stepped onto the illuminated stage. A tall man with silver implants along his jawline and a smile that never reached his eyes. "Ladies and gentlemen," he announced. His amplified voice echoed through the chamber. "Tonight we witness history." Applause erupted. I didn't clap. My gaze remained fixed on the woman standing at the center of the platform. She wore a simple white dress. Her wrists were surrounded by discreet magnetic restraints. Not because she was violent. But because they wanted to remind everyone she was property. My stomach twisted. The lights brightened. She blinked against them. For just a second, fear flashed across her face. Real fear. Not programmed behavior. Not simulation. Fear. The sight punched the air from my lungs. Emily had looked exactly like that once. 3 years ago. 3 years before the universe stole her from me. My fingers moved unconsciously toward the inside pocket of my jacket. Toward the small velvet box hidden there. Toward the ring. Her ring. The only thing I had left. The auctioneer spread his arms dramatically. Opening bid. 5 million credits. Immediately, dozens of lights illuminated across the room. 10 million. 15 million. 20 million. The numbers rose so quickly they barely sounded real anymore. The audience watched with excitement. Some smiled. Others laughed. As if this were entertainment. As if a conscious being wasn't standing on that stage listening to strangers decide who would own her life. I looked at her. She wasn't watching the bidders. She wasn't watching the auctioneer. She was staring at the floor. Trying not to cry. My chest tightened. Emily used to do that. Whenever she was overwhelmed. Whenever she was afraid. Whenever she thought nobody was looking. Stop it. I squeezed my eyes shut. Stop comparing them. Emily was dead. Dead. The word still felt unreal even after 3 years. I remembered the day the military officers arrived at my apartment. I remembered their expressions. Their silence. Their pity. The colony vessel Aurora had suffered catastrophic reactor failure beyond Neptune. No survivors. No recoverable remains. Just debris scattered across millions of kilometers. Emily had been aboard. Gone. Just gone. One moment she existed. The next she didn't. The universe hadn't even given me a body to bury. Only a ring. A single diamond ring recovered from emergency storage. A symbol of a life that no longer existed. The bidding reached 50 million credits. Then 60. Then 70. The synthetic woman finally lifted her head. Her silver eyes swept across the crowd. Desperation lived there now. She knew what awaited her. Laboratory testing. Corporate ownership. Disassembly. Endless experiments. A life spent in a cage. Then her gaze found mine. Everything stopped. At least for me. The noise vanished. The crowd disappeared. For one impossible second, it felt as though she recognized me. Not vaguely. Not accidentally. Recognized me. A strange sadness crossed her face. As if she almost knew my name. As if she was trying to remember something hidden behind a wall. Then the moment passed. The auction continued. 85 million. 90 million. The military delegation immediately answered. 100 million. Gasps filled the hall. That should have been the end. No ordinary person could challenge numbers like that. Certainly not me. I had less than 12,000 credits remaining. 12,000. Against 100 million. The auctioneer smiled. 100 million credits. Do I hear anything higher? Silence. The military officials relaxed. Victory was theirs. I should have stayed seated. I should have accepted reality. I should have remembered that dead people don't come back. Instead, I stood. The movement felt automatic. As though something beyond reason had seized control of my body. Hundreds of faces turned toward me. Confused. Annoyed. The auctioneer frowned. Sir. My heart hammered violently. I have a bid. Laughter erupted. Actual laughter. The kind people reserve for fools. The auctioneer looked amused. And your offer? I reached inside my jacket. Security instantly became alert. Hands moved toward weapons. Then I removed the velvet box. The room grew quieter. I opened it. The diamond ring sparkled beneath the station lights. Whispers spread. Recognition. The auctioneer's expression changed. He knew what it was. Everyone did. Emily Carter's ring had become famous after the Aurora disaster. She had been one of humanity's greatest scientists. The woman who established communication with the first confirmed extraterrestrial intelligence. The woman who changed history. The woman I had lost. My voice trembled. This ring survived the Aurora catastrophe. Nobody spoke. It accompanied humanity's first contact mission. The room remained silent. It has no financial value compared to 100 million credits. I swallowed. But it belongs to history. The auctioneer stared. The judges overseeing the auction exchanged messages through neural links. The audience waited. Then something happened. Something nobody expected. The woman on stage suddenly gasped. Her eyes locked onto the ring. Not casually. Not curiously. Like someone seeing a ghost. No. She whispered. The single word echoed across the chamber. Every head turned toward her. My pulse accelerated. The voice. Something about the voice. Something impossibly familiar. She stepped forward despite the restraints. Her breathing became uneven. Her eyes filled with tears. Tears. Not synthetic fluid. Not simulation. Tears. The auctioneer looked uncertain now. The judges whispered among themselves. Minutes seemed to stretch forever. Finally one judge nodded. Another followed. Then a third. The auctioneer cleared his throat. Given the extraordinary historical significance of the item. Nobody moved. Nobody breathed. The bid is accepted. Shock exploded across the hall. The military representatives stood immediately. Protests erupted. Arguments filled the air. But I barely heard them. Because the woman was staring directly at me. And something was changing inside her eyes. Something awakening. The magnetic restraints disengaged. The auction was over. She was free. Then she screamed. The sound tore through the chamber. Every light flickered simultaneously. Alarms erupted. People jumped from their seats. The station's systems began malfunctioning. Screens flashed violently. Emergency sirens wailed. The woman collapsed to her knees, clutching her head. Make it stop. Her voice cracked with agony. The screens suddenly activated. Not displaying station diagnostics. Displaying memories. A ship appeared. The Aurora. My heart stopped. The hall fell silent. Everyone watched. Everyone stared. Footage streamed across every surface. The final hours of the doomed vessel. Crew members running. Emergency lights flashing. Panic. Fire. Then. Emily. I nearly collapsed. There she was. Alive. Walking through a corridor. Smiling at someone off-screen. The sight hit me harder than any physical blow. 3 years. 3 years since I'd seen her face. I felt tears burning my eyes. The recordings continued. Emily entered a sealed laboratory. An experimental quantum interface chamber occupied the center. I remembered hearing about that project. Theoretical consciousness transmission technology. Impossible. Untested. Dangerous. The footage showed reactor alarms activating. The ship beginning to fail. Then. A brilliant flash. Static consumed the image. The woman on stage trembled violently. I remember. She whispered. The entire room listened. I remember everything. I moved toward her. Slowly. Fearfully. Because part of me already knew. Part of me desperately hoped. Part of me was terrified. She looked up. Silver eyes filled with tears. Yet somehow they weren't silver anymore. Not really. Because I recognized the person behind them. The person I'd loved more than life itself. My God. I whispered. She touched the ring. The moment her fingers brushed the diamond, she broke completely. Sobs escaped her. Real. Human. Heartbreaking. When the reactor exploded. She said between breaths. The quantum interface activated. Nobody interrupted. Nobody dared. My consciousness transferred. The hall remained frozen. The emergency systems interpreted the signal as artificial intelligence architecture. Tears streamed down her face. They built this body around me. My vision blurred. Impossible. Impossible. Impossible.